Buenas and welcome to the Ys IX Monstrum Nox review. Jarek here. Once again, thank you for taking the time to listen in to me talk about my experience with Ys IX. This will be a spoiler-free review of the game. The footage used is from my own personal run of the game for the first 8 hours or so of the game. I want to do this in a way that will allow anyone to experience the entire game on their own should they decide to play it after watching this video. Ys IX is currently available only on the PS4, but it will be launching on the Switch and Steam later on this year. While this is the 9th entry in the series, currently it is in the correct spot of the timeline, with it being the most recent story chronologically, unlike the other games in the series not being anywhere in the correct timeline. Ys' timeline is about as confusing as The Legend of Zelda. Ys 1 and 2 take place in order, followed by Ys 4, Memories of Celceta. Then Ys 3, Ulthen Filgana comes after that. Then the events of Ys 5, Lost Kefin, which has yet to be released stateside or even a remake of its own be released. Then there's Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana. Then followed by Ys 6, Ark of Nepishtim. Then Ys 7, and then finally Ys IX Monstrum Nox. Yep, cluster of a story, but they are worth playing every bit. Ys IX takes Adol and Dogi to the fortified city of Balduq in the continent of Glea, which is currently occupied by the Roman Empire after a war that's left its people broken. Balduq is now home to one of the biggest prisons in the area. The entire game takes place in this huge prison hub town, so this is a big change compared to the prior games where you normally are able to explore varied selections of fields and dungeons. While this might deter others from writing the game off, let me be the first to tell you that I had the same feelings going into this game. However, I left the game loving every bit of the city and its small outskirts that you get to explore. The story is deep and engaging while also calling back to prior Ys games. While you can play this game without having to have touched any of the other games, playing the other games gives you a bit more of context to certain things that can happen in this game. That is the extent of what I will give story-wise, and now let's hop into the start of the game and what makes this almost dethrone Ys 8 in my opinion. Adol and his companion Dogi make their way to Glea and to the fortress city of Balduq. As they arrive, they are stopped at the front gates of the city by the Roman Empire soldiers. This is when the story takes another familiar turn. Adol's past exploits and adventures catches up to him, and he is arrested for suspicions of being a spy and for questioning about what he was involved in before. Adol breaks out of prison and makes his escape via an underground passage. As he progresses further, he runs into a new character that will be an integral part to the story of Ys IX. You learn their name is Aprilis, and nothing more before she decides to slap a bullet through Adol. Not only did Adol get imprisoned unjustly, he just got shot by a random new face without a word. Though not a normal bullet and gun, this gun ends up cursing Adol and turning him into the game's title's sake a monstrum. Adol is given a swanky new outfit and hairstyle, and I have to say, Adol is goddamn good looking in this game. I have enjoyed the Ys series since the 1980s, but holy hell is he a dashing looking guy as the Crimson King, as he is dubbed in his monstrum form. The monstrums are cursed people who have unique gifts that are used as part of the gameplay. Adol as the Crimson King gains the ability called the Crimson Line, an ethereal-looking grappling hook that is used to help him scale up marked positions around the dungeons and city. Shortly after dispatching the first boss as the Crimson King, Adol's body begins to give way as he's still trying to come to terms with the curse. The guards catch up with him and Adol just decides to let fate take hold of him as he flips back into the waterways below. Adol wakes up later and in the process must avoid the guards, hiding himself in an abandoned building where he magically and plot-related finds a chest with a red scarf and some black dye. But who is the game kidding? The hair's more blue at this point than black. This is a small synopsis of the story that comes into play. I will refrain from saying more about the story because I want this to be as spoiler-free as possible. The game is that good that I urge people to play it when they can grab a copy of their own. You will have a total of 6 party members you can cycle from. Each monstrum has their own unique gifts that help traverse the city and the dungeons. Adol has Crimson Line that lets him hookshot from point to point. The White Cat has Heaven's Run, which allows him to run up the walls and climb up buildings. The Wild Hawk gives you the ability to glide with wings that spring from the back of the characters as you jump from high places. While you might think that you have to switch to the respective monstrums to use the gifts, I can tell you that you do not. As you unlock each new monstrums, this lets you as Adol or any other of the monstrums use each of the other's abilities. So while you have the White Cat, you can run up the walls as Adol or Hawk and glide with them as long as you have them join your party. The gifts alone open up a huge change brought to the Ys series, and that is verticality. While Ys VIII had some really high places you can jump off from, it never really gave you the movement freedom that Ys IX has introduced. Balduke is a huge city. While at the start most of the city is gated off by barriers, and you are limited to where you can go, the story slowly opens up each area as you progress and gives you the chance to explore and get your bearings before setting you loose to have fun exploring. The story is structured into chapters, and while this might be annoying to some who might want to explore the city from the get-go, this is a smart choice, as each chapter is dedicated to a monstrum. This gives you enough time to learn about the characters and their gifts, while also slowly expanding the city and what you can explore in a meaningful way. The first two monstrums you get have a city traversal gift that help you move and climb at a faster pace. The next two you get are gifts that will help you in ways that will become part of the combat system, while also helping you solve puzzles. The final monstrum gives you a new traversal skill that helps you with certain bosses and finding hidden places within the city. Each chapter gives you enough time to get used to each gift, and gives you the chance to explore the city more while also letting you get to know each monstrum and what makes him or her tick. You learn about their struggles, their plight, and hot damn is it well written. The battle system in Ys IX is almost identical to Ys VIII with the frenetic fast-paced action combat. 3 characters in your active party and you can swap them out with others at any point. Each character comes with a unique weapon type. Adol uses slashing, White Cat uses striking, Hawk uses piercing. The other 3 are slashing, strike, and piercing also. The game adds a new accessory type which allows you to switch a character's type to another. So if you really like both characters who are strike, but want to make them piercing, you can, at the sacrifice of some stats. In combat, you can leverage this system to do the most damage to an enemy as you can. So for instance, if you're fighting a crab, White Cat will deal the most damage while the rest of your party will do less. But using White Cat can help you fill up a break gauge. When you place the enemy in break status, this opens up everyone to be able to do the full amount of damage, regardless of their weapon type. So it encourages you to switch between the characters to help exploit the weaknesses of the enemies. Party members changing is as simple as hitting a single button and instantly changes to the next character on the line. Ys IX also keeps the flash move and flash guard from Ys VIII, while tweaking it for better responsiveness. Yes, if you've played Ys VIII, you can still cheese the flash move to a flash guard and vice versa, giving you the benefits of both. Flash move is dodging right as an attack lands on you. This will nullify the damage and slow down time around you. The enemies will be slower while your team gets an attack speed boost. Flash guard is guarding an attack as it lands on you. This will nullify all the damage, but instead of slowing down time around you, it grants you a 100% crit hit for the duration of the flash guard. Using both in conjunction can mean the difference between life and death in the harder difficulties of the game. The rest of the combat is nearly identical to Ys VIII. Having the SP gauge and skills you learn as you level up, and maxing out your current skills lowers the cost of their use. Some of these skills can be located via books scattered around the world. The only difference between the two is the fine-tuned flash system and the inclusion of the gifts. Some enemies will benefit you using gifts to help break their guards or to see where their weak spots are located. All this is added to the combat in a meaningful way so you're not caught off guard abruptly with it. With the final boss, you have to use every single gift to near full potential in order to be able to defeat it. Ys IX, like every other Ys game in the series, has a phenomenal soundtrack tied to it. Out of the 61 total tracks in the game, I think I disliked maybe 1 or 2 from it. The rest fit the gothic theme of the game, from calm strings and flutes for somber and sad moments, to frenetic and metal beats mixing violins and heavy metal guitars to heighten the mood and pump you up for what is to come. Ys IX just barely comes close to surpassing Ys VIII Lacrimosa of Dana in my book. It is a stellar game with a fantastic story that gives callouts to every other prior story that Adol has been in to date, but a few minor gripes here and there have dampened the experience. When comparing both, I just love the characters in Ys VIII more than the ones in Ys IX. Dana has such a sad and depressing background, and I just fell in love with her from the get-go. The only other thing that made Ys IX a bit of a slog, and this has nothing to do with the original story, this would end up being the localization. I will address this elephant in the room, and one that I'm still annoyed at Nihon Falcom for. The localization to this game has glaring issues throughout the story. There are many grammatical errors which makes the reading of the story a bit confusing, as well as just some of the most blatantly painful typos in the game. As pictured below, you can see the example of this typo. While it might seem minimal to some, It shows a testament how bad Nippon Ichi Software, or NIS America, has been at their localization. Ys VIII was a disaster in which they had to literally call the voice actors back to re-record the voiced lines and redo the script after receiving so much backlash from the community. While Ys IX is not as egregious as Ys VIII, it still had some issues that took me out of the world and just soured the experience a bit. All in all, Ys IX is a superb game, one filled with a captivating story, albeit a bit slow to start. Each character was given enough background and development that you start to sympathize with them and grow to love them. Just like Ys VIII, there was really no character that I disliked. They each had such a developed and impactful story. Ys IX has become my second favorite Ys game of all time. It has dethroned Ys Origin in my books, but sits next to Ys VIII. Ys IX Monstrum Nox is a contender of one of my favorite RPGs of the year. If you are looking for a game with a deep story, fast and engaging gameplay, characters you will fall in love with, and a hell of a plot twist, I highly recommend this game to anyone who is a fan of RPGs. If you enjoyed this video, hit like. If you disliked it, hit dislike. Let me know in the comments if you played Ys IX and what your thoughts are. If you found this video helpful and it gave you a general view of the game and you want to see more, please hit subscribe and let me know what other games you'd like to see me review. Once again, I'd like to say thank you for the support and have yourself a fantastic day.